Yeah, so next, really nice to have Talita. Talita Muller is a program manager in our Future of Work team for the Africa practice. She's been a part of the Future of Work global practice for the last 2 and a bit years. Talita, I think, from something that was often quite conceptual, you're now finding yourself more in demand than ever, busier than ever. What are some of the shifts that you're seeing in terms of why clients are engaging so quickly with this Future of Work?
Well, thanks, John. I think for the most part, the Future of Work initiatives that we have been talking to clients about and the type of questions that people have been asking, it was quite tactical in nature. Often over-focus on the new skills or on technology implementation or limited incremental new ways of working. But with the forced lockdown, it was almost like an accelerated wake-up call to really now think about what does it mean to work, to conduct work, where should the work be done, and who should be doing the work. And the organizations that have been exploring these principles for quite some time, we saw them actually responding much quicker to the forced lockdown. They were able to adjust their ways of working quite quickly. But whether or not you have been exploring these initiatives or not, never before have there been such a focus such as now to fundamentally take this as a strategic lens to rethink not just the new skills of tomorrow, but from the business strategy to the business model, the operating model, where the work will be done, by who it will be done, the type of talent strategies, the type of leadership practices, all in all, a fundamental restart and a rethink.
Thanks, Talita. I think that's really kind of insightful in terms of the challenges. If you think about organizations going forward, obviously they're making some deliberate choices. Where do you think they should be focusing in terms of making the shift?
Before you go into the type of skill that I need and the way in which we're going to work, you have to start with what is the work that people will do. I've heard some of the other panel members talking about it this morning already, that our very definition of work, the time where work takes place and when, the Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 notion, those are done, those days are gone. We're no longer living in that time because now work can be done from almost anywhere, anytime. So where clients should be focusing is to say, how do we shift the work and our definition of work to enable more humanized and meaningful work, not just through technology implementations for efficiency, but true human-machine collaboration to unlock the efficiencies from both the machines and the potential that lies within the humans. And talking about the humans, it's also how should you be shifting your definition of a workforce so that you can tap into multiple employment models, from the full-time permanent staff to your contract workers and your freelancers, and as we've also heard, the workers that are not necessarily within your jurisdiction, but the talent that are sitting in different parts of the world. And that then brings us to the third shift, which is around the workplace and where work should be done. And not just where it should be done, but where it can be done, and in that way enabling the phygital world, the physical and the digital world of work, and really challenging what you think the office of tomorrow will look like.
So you used this word humans, right? And I suppose that's deliberate. And I think it's come up a few times in the conversation thus far. But you're a leader, and we've moved into a kind of a new shift where people are working digitally a lot more, potentially are not directly connected. What is your advice or thinking around how one can humanize the workplace going forward? Or is that becoming less important?
Oh no, that's in actual fact becoming the most important thing. And one of the key things to do that is to be very deliberate about the new rules of business. And in being deliberate, it's to start with re-architecting work. And what we mean by re-architecting work is to really put front and center in mind what is the value that you want to deliver and drive, either to your internal customers within the business or to your external customers. And when you have that focus of value, what are the things driving the value, then to architect the work around the outcomes that need to be achieved. And why that is so important, and this is probably the topic and future of work that gets me the most excited, is when you really focus on the value that you need to drive and the work outcomes to achieve that. That gives you the opportunity to really fundamentally challenge your thinking about the work to be done by the humans and the work that can be done by the machines. I always say that we forget that we designed the organizations we live in today. We designed it as humans, and we designed the processes and the jobs that we follow today. And for a lot of for those jobs and processes, we've been following the same ones since a time that the technologies we have today didn't exist. And now we're at that point in time where we have the technologies that can do the work. Why not let the technologies do the work that they can do, and let the humans do the human-natured work? Let the humans be truly focusing on the meaning and the value that they can drive and add.
I'd like to just close off on that, because I think that was a great point that you picked up there, right? You start off by saying that ultimately it's the work that changes. And I think when you talk about work outcomes, you also talk about the value that you create through the work, right? So by starting with what value you create, and then how do you work to create that value, there's a big opportunity to rethink and reshape our organizations. So thank you very much, Talita.
Thanks, John.